All right, so we're diving deep today
Okay.
into Indian pro soccer,
Yeah.
but not the stuff you usually hear about, the
True.
goals or the star players or anything like that.
Right.
We are going behind the scenes a little bit
Interesting.
and looking at the fans themselves,
Okay.
or the lack of fans sometimes in the
Yeah.
Indian Super League.
Cool.
So we're talking attendance numbers, stadium capacity ratios, and how all of that is impacted by,
Yeah.
how well the team's actually doing,
For sure.
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what you found.
Yeah, we've got some pretty surprising stuff, I think.
Cool.
So to kind of kick us off, I mean, attendance can tell us a lot more
You can.
than
Yeah.
just, heads and seats, I guess.
For sure.
It's really like a story about,
Yeah.
the culture of the sport in India.
Yeah. Like fan loyalty, team strategies.
Yeah, exactly.
Even stadium design plays a part.
Yeah, so let's start with the teams that are really drawing in the crowds.
All right.
So we're talking Mohun Bagan SG. They've got the highest average attendance,
Okay.
almost 30,000 fans per game.
Wow. That's impressive.
It sounds impressive,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, that's a big stadium.
But here's the thing. Their stadium holds over 85,000.
What? 85,000?
Yeah.
Wow.
Which means that on average, over 50,000 seats
Oh my gosh.
are empty every game.
That's like having a whole nother stadium's worth of fans missing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. So what's going on there?
I don't know. I mean, obviously, every team's going to have some empty seats, right?
Right.
But that's such a huge difference.
That's a huge discrepancy.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I think it really begs the question, is bigger always better?
Hmm.
Like maybe there's a mismatch between
Yeah.
their huge stadium and their actual fan base.
Yeah.
I mean, just thinking about it, if you see like specific seating sections
Yeah.
that are consistently empty, that could point to like a pricing problem. Or maybe certain matchups just aren't as popular and don't bring in those big crowds.
So it's more than just filling the seats. It's like
It is.
figuring out who you're filling those seats with.
Exactly. You got to understand your audience.
Okay, so now let's look at the other end of the spectrum.
Okay.
We have teams like Odisha FC
Okay.
and Mumbai City FC.
Mm-hmm.
Way smaller stadiums
Mm-hmm.
compared to these giants.
Right.
But they're consistently packed.
Oh, wow.
Like Odisha's running at almost 70% capacity,
That's great.
and Mumbai City's right behind them.
So what are they doing that these bigger teams aren't?
I think it's that energy you get when you're
Yeah.
at a smaller venue.
Right, like a sold out concert.
Yeah, exactly. It's like everybody's crammed in.
Yeah,
The energy is just like amplified.
definitely. I think that contributes to a more dedicated fan base.
More passionate, more diehard.
Yeah, absolutely. A sense of community.
Totally. Yeah. And it's like you're closer to the action too.
Literally closer to the action, yeah.
Yeah. So it makes me wonder too, how much does the team's performance actually impact
It does.
the attendance numbers?
It has a huge impact.
Because if you look at the data teams like Kerala Blasters,
Mm-hmm.
Odisha FC again,
Yeah,
they both have a positive goal difference,
which means,
which means they're scoring more goals than
they're win.
they're letting in. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're consistently drawing in big crowds.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then on the other hand,
Yeah.
you have teams like Hyderabad FC and Punjab FC.
Mm-hmm.
They're both kind of struggling.
Yeah,
They've got a negative goal difference.
they're letting in more than they're scoring.
Right.
Not good.
And their attendance numbers are really low.
Like, how low are we talking?
Well, Hyderabad Stadium holds 30,000,
Okay.
but they're averaging just over 1,800 fans per game.
Oof, that's rough.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
It is tough.
So it's like, how do you build a dedicated fan base when you're not
It's a challenge.
winning?
Yeah. It's the age-old question. Does success attract fans, or do passionate fans bring success?
Yeah, it's a chicken or the egg situation.
It really is.
And I think that's something for our listeners to think about too.
For sure.
What do you think comes first?
Yeah. What do you think, listeners?
But something that can make a really big difference is these big must-see events.
Oh, yeah.
So like take East Bengal, for example.
All right.
They had a massive spike in attendance back in November 2024.
What happened in November?
I mean, it had to be a big rivalry game, right?
Oh, probably a rivalry, yeah.
Something where it's like bragging rights are on the line.
For sure. My states.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it shows that smart scheduling
Yeah.
and these big events
Yeah.
can turn just a regular game into a can't-miss experience.
Totally.
So what advice would you give to these teams that are
Right.
struggling to fill seats?
I think for teams like Hyderabad FC and Punjab FC,
Yeah.
it's all about connecting with the community. You know, they need to have like targeted promotions.
Yeah.
Family-friendly events.
Yeah.
Anything that gets people excited about their local team.
Yeah. Really, like, instill that sense of pride.
Exactly.
Ownership.
Make them feel like they're part of something.
But what about those giant teams?
Right.
The ones with the massive stadiums.
Yeah, what about them?
What do they do?
I think they need to think outside the box.
Okay.
Literally.
What do you mean?
Well, like, could Mohun Bagan or East Bengal
Yeah.
actually benefit from downsizing their stadiums?
Downsizing.
Yeah, so like close off the upper decks for certain matches.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and concentrate the crowd in the lower bowls.
So even with fewer fans overall,
Exactly.
like you're creating that energy
That condensed energy.
that those smaller stadiums have.
Just like we were talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's about maximizing the impact of
Yeah.
the fans you do have.
Totally. Instead of just worrying about the sheer number.
I like that.
Yeah.
And then you have teams like Odisha FC
Yeah.
and Bengaluru FC.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing really well right now.
They are.
They're riding that wave of success.
You got to strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah. They need to capitalize on that momentum
Yeah.
and keep building that loyalty while their fans are excited.
Absolutely.
So it seems like attendance in the Indian Super League, it's not just a head count.
It's not.
It's like a reflection of
Yeah.
a really complex relationship between the teams.
yeah.
the
Things that
fan.
spaces they share.
Exactly.
It's about the experience.
Yeah, and creating an experience that
Yeah.
resonates with people.
It makes them want to be part of something bigger.
Totally. So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this question, listener.
Okay.
What makes you want to be part of the crowd at your favorite teams,
Yeah.
your favorite events?
Good question.
What makes that experience unforgettable?
What makes you want to be there?
I think there's so many factors.
Play
And it's worth thinking about whether you're like a diehard fan
Yeah.
or just a casual observer.
That's a great point to end on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Cool. Well, thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
Absolutely. This was great.
I'm glad you could make it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And we'll see everybody next time.
See you later.
Mm.
Bye.
Bye.